Team Tony the Closer, and I'm actually a launch strategist, so I figured it would be best if I covered this particular video. Okay, so this is going to be essentially a launch formula for online course success. All right, now, before you even consider launching, all right, when we speak about launching, the word launch essentially kind of means when any marketing event is about to take place. You could be launching a lead magnet, you could be launching an ebook, right? In this particular case, when I'm speaking about launching, I'm actually speaking about launching your first free training, aka your first free webinar, in which you actually plan to sell your online course at the end of. Okay, so that's the kind of launch that we're going to talk about here. Now, I just want to reiterate that your foundations must be right. So let's go over some of the things that you must already have in place before considering launching. So I want you to really have alignment on this, okay? You should know your target audience and your course niche. So you should have identified your ideal customer. And by that, I truly also mean you should have really considered, did you nail a pain point for your audience, okay? Do you know their biggest desires? Do you know their biggest pain points when it comes to X, right? And then based on that, have you selected a likely profitable course, right? Now, at the end of the day, all we can do is take an educated guess. And this is when you actually bring that guess to the market and find out whether it's a good offer market fit. But for now, you have to think, okay, my ideal audiences, their biggest pain points, for example, their biggest pain points when it comes to creating online courses is the fact that they just don't know the technology, right? So I'm going to create a course on a step-by-step on how to create a course that includes all of the tech, done for them templates. So they just have to click a few buttons and everything will be done for them. So that's just like an example, right? But I have to know for sure that that's one of the biggest pain points that they have. Otherwise, I'm going to miss the mark. So once you feel like you know your ideal avatar, you know your niche, you know where you're going to teach, and you really believe that this is a big pain point that they're willing to pay to solve, then you can kind of move to having the course content. And I'm not going to say creation yet, but at least having the course content in mind. Okay, so what does this mean? Planning your course curriculum, creating engaging content, and designing course materials. So this is the thing. When you do this for the very first time, you can use a strategy called pre-selling, which means that as long as you have your course curriculum down, as far as you have it organized on a piece of paper, you have it organized in your notes, you know what you're going to teach, you don't necessarily have to already have it created. Okay, because what happens is you can do your free training, you can launch the way we're teaching you in this video, you can do your free training, and at the end you can say, I'm going to open the doors to my brand new program. We start in 2 weeks, right? And this is what I'm going to teach. And you can just tell them your course curriculum. And then once people actually purchase, you can start 2 weeks from that date, giving you some time to at least create module 1. And let's say your course is about 4 or 5 weeks. You can show up every week and do it live on a Zoom call and then upload those recordings. You have time to do pre-recorded videos and upload them and then do a Zoom to answer their questions. So there's different strategies on how to deliver it. But you do need to have a course curriculum written down in order for you to launch, because you need to know what you will be teaching. Now, one of the things you have to your advantages is that you guys can use ChatGPT, and you can literally just prompt it and say, hey, I want to help this niche. I think that they're big to solve this particular pain point. What is a course curriculum? What's like a title of a course? Give me 5 different course ideas for them. What are the top performing courses in the market? Can you give me a course curriculum? If I wanted to do a 5-week course, what should I teach each week? So you can really use ChatGPT to help you with this. And, or, you can do a combination, write down a series of steps that you think you want to teach and kind of combine that together to make the best possible curriculum for your audience. Okay. So now once you already have that on paper, when it comes time to create your course, some of you, maybe you're a makeup artist and you want to do a 1.5-hour masterclass and you just like, listen, I might as well just get the model and record the whole thing now before I even sell it, right? Some of you want to create an 8-week program that maybe it's just not the best use of your time to create content right now. So whatever you decide, whether to make the course first and then sell it or pre-sell it during the webinar, either way, at one point, you're going to have to create the content for it. And I just want to let you know that you can literally use the latest iPhone to record yourself. You can use a tripod. And all you have to do is think about what is the best way to teach my audience what I'm teaching. So again, if you're a makeup artist, you don't necessarily want to do slides. You probably want to have a model that you can focus on, that people can see. Maybe you want to have different models with different skin tones, but maybe you want to record yourself doing the makeup and then do a voiceover, or you can just be talking to the phone or like the camera. So you have to just ask yourself, right? When you do more marketing or this style kind of courses, sometimes it makes sense to do slides like this where people can read, but also you're doing a voiceover at the same time. So this is called a screen recording. And for that, you can use a free Chrome extension called Loom, Loom. If you want to upgrade after a while, it's $10 a month. So that's one option. You can literally record yourself and then download the video. In my experience though, very long videos on Loom lose the quality. So I like to use QuickTime Player, which comes in most Macs already, so therefore is free and it records my screen. But whatever way you want to go about it, just think about what is the best way to teach that particular module to your students, okay? Now, when it comes to designing course materials, which again, you don't have to do when you're going to launch, you can just simply have it down as an idea, okay? You can use PDFs. Again, for the content, you can use ChatGPT. You guys know how to prompt it and get the information that you need. Or there's also the other AI that Tony taught you guys about, Designer, in which you can literally, like, let's say you already have some videos, or what you want to do is create a PDF for every video that you upload. You can just upload that video to like a private link on YouTube, take that link and put it in Designer, and it will literally create an outline out of everything you said, and then create the accompanying PDF for you, all designed. Okay, so that might be something you want to try. And honestly, when it comes to resources, just think what will make it easier for my students. And then also, this is a great place for you to think, how do I internally, monetize my course? Like, can I add my affiliate links to things? Tony, for example, adds his Stan Store links, his Kajabi links. And the same thing with his real estate courses. He adds PropStream. Anything that he uses that he can get an affiliate link for, he will add to his course. Many course creators add Amazon store links if people need to purchase products from Amazon. So all of that should definitely be, it's a value to your customer because then they have one place where they can get what they need, and it's a value to you because there's other ways to monetize. So keep those things in mind when creating that. Okay, so now let's say you know your niche, you have a course idea, you're solving a pain point, you put a whole little curriculum on paper down, okay? Now, before you also launch, you should have been doing something that we call pre-launch content and list building. And this is what this course has really been focusing on. And there's been a reason, right? Because the more you do this, the more you actually prep your audience for a launch instead of just going straight into it, okay? So this means having a pre-launch content strategy, creating lead magnets and opt-in pages, and growing your email list, all right? So what does developing a pre-launch content strategy mean? It means that you put your audience in the right mind frame for your upcoming launch. Okay, so for example, when Tony knew he decided that he wanted to launch a course about how to build a digital fortune, he started posting how much money he had made with his courses, something he really never did before, right? He showed his Stripe account numbers. He showed how many students he had. He has 20,000 students or more in Rona Proof, right? He showed how his lifestyle allowed for flexibility with his schedule because he could teach thousands of people at the same time from something he already created. So what he was doing, he was creating subconscious demand for his upcoming product, okay? So you have to ask yourself, what content can I be posting now in order to start creating subconscious demand for the upcoming product that I already have in mind? And this is why it's so important for you to have that course curriculum done on paper so that you always know, you always start with the end in mind. You know what you're gonna sell in the end. So you have to kind of bring up those pain points, right? Bring up people who have found solutions to those pain points and create content consistently speaking about this to your niche so that they're in the right mind frame, all right? That's pre-launch content. Now, when it comes to creating lead magnets, this has been, here from day one. So this has been covered in Digital Fortune by a lot. And again, you create them with ChatGPT. Oh, there's a typo there, but you create them with ChatGPT and Designer, okay? That Designer AI that we just spoke about. You upload them to StanStore. The beauty of StanStore is that you don't need to create an opt-in page. Opt-in pages take a long time to create sometimes. And when you're first starting out, you don't want to waste that time. So you have tutorials on how to create a lead magnet and upload it in just minutes to StanStore. And now you can consistently lead people there. You have a clear CTA, call to action, every time you're promoting. Every time you're doing all that pre-launch content that we just spoke about, you're doing your lives, you're posting reels, talking about all of this stuff, you have somewhere to send them to get extra value. And it only takes you a few minutes to set up. Okay, so make sure that you're promoting your lead magnets, because that means that you're building up your email list prior to launching. Again, if you're going to launch a course, let's say about makeup, your lead magnet should only be attractive to people who might be interested at the end of the day in a makeup course. So your lead magnet could be like, my 10 favorite beauty products as a makeup artist, right? My 3 favorite concealer tricks to get my clients that flawless look. So you know that the people who are going to download that are very into makeup. They're very into learning specific information from you about makeup. And so building that list of all those people interested in makeup makes sense when it comes to the fact that you know down the line, soon enough, you're going to offer a makeup course. Okay. So make sure there's alignment between that lead magnet and the ultimate course you want to sell. And that's why you should have that course curriculum down on paper. Okay. Now, obviously, the more you promote your lead magnet and your ebooks, which are your low ticket products, the more your email list grows, okay? But you don't want to just let the list grow cold. We spoke about customer temperatures here. So what you want to do is you want to send emails with value. So let's say again that I'm going with that example. I'm the makeup artist, and now I have all these people in my list who I know are interested in learning about makeup. So I can be sending them a weekly email, right, for a few weeks, sending them some tips, tricks. If I'm doing YouTube videos, sending them to that. Or if I'm doing Instagram reel tutorials, sending them there, but using my email list to consistently show up and let them know that I'm here to teach them. Okay. And you use ChatGPT. And if you have any testimonials, you can send those through email as well. Okay. So just whatever you do, don't let the list grow cold during that whole pre-launch process. Okay. Once you have your audience in the right mind frame and you've been building your list, you've been showing up consistently on social, you've built your authority with your niche, you are ready to launch. All right, so this essentially means you're ready to promote a free live or pre-recorded training in which you will sell your digital course. We recommend that you do it live the very first time at minimum, but you don't have to. You can promote that there's an upcoming training coming, and then you can drop it on that certain date. So the strategy remains the same, whether it's live or pre-recorded, as far as the promotion, which is what we're speaking about, the launch, okay? So a launch has 3 different stages. First is the pre-launch, which we just went over. And then it's promoting the free training, right? Which leads to opening the cart and then closing the cart. So let's go over that. Promoting a free training. What you want to do is you want to set a date in the future, all right? And you want to understand, you want to give yourself 7 to 10 days prior to that date in order for you to promote that webinar, okay? So if today is Monday, March 1st, you don't want to have your webinar on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2 days from now. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is, if you feel you are ready, okay, take a little time, because you need a sign up page. You need somewhere where they can put their name and email to register for this page. And you need a little confirmation email. There's a couple things that you need to be ready, right, for your webinar. So if you're ready, then you give yourself a date. For example, you could do a date, today's March 1st, you can do a date of, let's say March 10th. So you say, okay, today I'm done with my pages, I'm ready, let's go. I'm gonna start promoting today, but my actual webinar is not gonna take place till March 10th. So I have 10 days to promote it. You don't want to go too over. Some people promote it, like want to promote it 2 weeks in advance, but honestly, people forget, and then your show up rate goes down. 7 to 10 days tops is usually the rule of thumb, okay? Now, once you have that link in your bio, like, listen, this is where you can register for my free masterclass or my free training, I don't usually call it a webinar, I call it a free training or a free masterclass. Once you have that page done, that title done, you promote it everywhere, okay? Promote it everywhere on stories, on your feed, on your site, on your email list. You want everybody to know. You want to encourage people to share it. So you want people to really know that you're having this free training, okay? And the title of your free training should be very enticing. Usually the titles go something like how to X without X, right? So how to, and then insert the desire that they want without X being the pain point, right? So how to, let's see, how to do a soft glam look without a big budget or without any creasing or whatever the pain points are, for makeup artists, okay? Or like how to do the perfect bride makeup in less than 2-3 hours or whatever it is, okay? Another way to position your title could be the 3 secrets, the 3 steps. And again, you can use ChatGPT for this. ChatGPT can literally give you 25 different suggestions for a webinar title, and you can tell it to use this format of like how to X without X, how to desire, how without X, biggest pain points, and it'll literally give it to you. And all you have to do is choose the ones you want. So you guys really do have that advantage. Now, you want to use your funnel. So you have a ClickFunnels that is already high converting. I have actually personally tried this funnel with Tony and it really does convert. I've seen it convert at 50%, meaning 50% of the people who land on that page convert over and leave their name and email for a webinar. So I know that it really does work, besides the fact that he has the numbers to prove it. So all you need to do is get a ClickFunnels account, click on that funnel, and then just change the images and what it says. So you already have all the pages built out for you, and what it says there, you can just use ChatGPT to get. So honestly, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do this. And you also have an actual tutorial on how to use Webinar Jam, which is the actual software that you can use to host your free live training, okay? Now, people are going to sign up, obviously, and then come live on that day. So you're going to promote, and people will come live. Now, at the end of your free training, and we have an entire different video on what to do during the webinar so that you ensure success. But essentially, at the end of that webinar or that free training, you give people 2 choices. They can continue trying to do it on their own, right? Or they can learn from you in your brand new course. So once you present your course and you give them the link to be able to purchase, this is when you're considered to be in the open cart phase. This is when you officially open your cart, okay? So there's a few things that you want to do at that point in time. So the open cart sequence, as Tony calls it, essentially has 3 parts: officially launching the course, implementing scarcity and urgency tactics, and utilizing social proof and testimonials. Now, this is something we're actually going to touch on again during the webinar, because obviously this is a part of the webinar. But what we want you to know is at the end of that training, you're going to pitch. That is the entire point. We are enticing hopefully hundreds and thousands of people to come to this free training. And at the end, we're going to offer them a solution to their problem, okay? So you're going to announce your course. You're going to say the title and what the promise of it is. That's what they're really purchasing, the promise of the course, right? What are they going to learn? What's the transformation they're going to have? You want to be clear about the structure. Is it going to be live? Is it going to be self-paced? You want to let them know if it's going to be group calls or maybe private Facebook groups or groups in Kajabi. Are there going to be Zoom calls, right? You want to give them a module breakdown. And that's why having that course curriculum really comes in handy, even if you don't have the content made. Because as long as you can literally explain to them what they're going to learn week by week, it's enough for them to be able to invest, okay? And then finally, you want to price it in a way that it seems like a very special offer and it's very enticing. And we'll go over this again in the webinar video, but this is essentially what it takes, what you will need, the information you will need in order to open the cart to your program, okay? That's essentially officially launching the course. Now, what's going to make this very effective is implementing scarcity and urgency tactics. So human nature is First of all, we want what we can't have. And we're afraid to miss out on things. This is why FOMO is a real thing, right? Fear of missing out. So what we do in marketing is we use bonuses, okay? We use scarcity. So scarcity comes in many forms. In the forms that we use it is, first of all, there's always deadlines, okay? So we give a lot of deadlines for bonuses. So for example, in this Digital Fortune course, some of you watching purchased for this bonus, and some of you watching may or may not have access to this bonus. But when Tony first launched this Digital Fortune course, he said at the end of that free training, he said, listen, for the first 20, or maybe it was 10, I forget, but the first 20 people who purchase this program at full price, I'm going to give you a copy of my 2 Comma Club ClickFunnels template. Literally copy it and give it to you. That funnel is worth thousands of dollars. And so it's very enticing for someone to want to purchase this entire course and know that they're going to get this for free. And then obviously there's scarcity because there's only 20 spots left. You don't know how fast they're going to go. So it just makes you want to take action if you are on the fence because the bonus is so good. And that's what you really want to do. You want to do a bonus that's really worthwhile. Okay. And then overall using deadlines. So for example, when he purchased this course, I believe, let's say the pricing for Easy Math was $2,000, which I think it was $2,500, but let's say he said, okay, this course is going to be $2,500. It's only going to be $2,500 for the next 5 days. After that, it's going to go to $4,000, let's say, right? So again, there's deadlines and FOMO because you know you're about to miss out on this huge discount if you don't act by this certain time. All right, so we're going to go over a little bit more of this during the webinar video, but this is just so you understand how important it is to use scarcity and urgency at your open cart and literally throughout your entire open cart sequence, okay? Now, what you want to do is also utilize social proof and testimonials. All right, people need to believe that they will achieve results. And the first belief comes from your own results. If you don't have your own results on the course that you're selling, you're probably selling the wrong thing, right? Like nobody wants to buy a fitness program from someone who's not fit. That doesn't really make sense, right? So the first belief comes from looking at your trainer and saying, hey, they have an amazing body. I want to learn from them, okay? But also, what if not only they had an amazing body, but they have hundreds of people who have transformed their bodies using their methodology? That makes it a lot more feasible for you to believe that you are going to achieve that transformation too. So if you have any type of social proof testimonial, so we're talking screenshots, DMs, obviously better if people give you videos or pictures, all of that is really important and you want to include it all over your open cart sequence. So definitely in your slides and your webinar and in your emails that you're going to be sending out people while your cart is open, okay? So at the end of your free training, right, you're going to stay for Q&A, which means that after you open your cart, which means after you announce your course and you drop the link and they're now able to purchase, don't just get off of the free training. You want to stay on and you want to answer your audience's questions. And now questions and objections are really like intertwined, okay? And a confused mind does not buy. So try to clarify whatever they need so that they can make their purchasing decision, okay? Sales usually come during the Q&A. They don't usually come as soon as you open your course. You have to start answering people's questions and then the sales start coming in, okay? Now, when you get off that presentation, when that Q&A finally ends for you, that's when you close. That's when the closed cart sequence begins. Technically, you're an open cart until the very last day, okay? So let's say, and I think that this, yeah. So now let's talk about this closing cart sequence. So what we're going to talk about is the final promotions and reminders, addressing last minute objections, and closing the cart, okay? So this is what I was talking about. So when you do, this is what a launch is. You're like, okay, on this day, I'm going to announce to my entire audience that I'm going to have a webinar 10 days from that day. For those 10 days, I'm going to promote my webinar. On webinar day, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do my free training, and at the end, I'm going to open the doors to my program, drop a link where they can actually make payments, okay? But then I have already written down the bonuses that I'm going to offer, the price reduction that I'm going to offer, but that's going to end in, let's say, 4 days from that live webinar. So if you have a webinar on a Wednesday, the last day they can join, let's say it's Sunday night with that bonus or with that price. Okay. So that is your open cart duration from Wednesday to Sunday. I like to do webinars on either Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, and I like to close a cart on Sundays, but some people close them on Mondays or whenever they need to. Usually 4 or 5 days is more than enough. Don't make the mistake of thinking if I open it up for more days, more people will join. You actually just prolong their procrastination. Most of the sales are going to come in at the end of the webinar or on the last day, okay? Now, for those 4 days, let's say your open cart is for 4 days after that webinar, people can purchase with the special pricing or specific bonuses, okay? But then you need to remind them of this. They can't just listen to this on the training and never hear from you again. You want to send emails during every single day of that open cart period, okay? And then on that last day of your open cart, let's say it's on Sunday, you want to literally send them 3 emails that day because that's the day you're going to close the cart. Okay. And now while you're sending them emails in the background every single day, so as soon as they get off the training, then you send emails Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You also want to be pushing them and reminding them about the bonuses and deadlines and telling everybody that your course is open on social media. Okay. After the training. So once you officially open your cart, that's when you promote on social. Okay. Now, use each email that you're sending out each day as an opportunity to address objections. Okay, so these are some of the example emails that Tony sends out after webinars. Okay, so the day of the webinar, which is usually, let's say it's a Wednesday, after it's done, you can send out a replay email saying, hey, I know a lot of you guys didn't make it. Here's the replay. There was 2 really special bonuses at the end. One of them I can't honor anymore because that was only for the people that came live. But so many of you wrote in that it was the wrong time zone, that you couldn't make it. So I'm going to extend a second bonus just for the next 24 hours. But that is it. So make sure if you didn't catch the replay, here it is. Okay. Then that could be like that Wednesday night. Then Thursday morning, you can send out an email saying, hey, if you didn't get a chance to see the replay, I'm going to take it down soon. So here's the link, but I wanted to let you know on a secret in case you didn't make it. I've opened the doors to my program. This is what it's going to do. This is what it's going to teach. This is how much it's going to be in the future. This is how much it is now. You only have until this day. And the bonus that I reopened last night goes away tonight. So that's that. Then later on Thursday in the afternoon, you can say, hey, 6 hours left for this bonus to go away. You know, again, giving people FOMO. And then explain in that email why that bonus is so enticing and so amazing for them. What's the benefits of it, right? Then on Friday, you can send out a frequently asked question email, meaning you can structure it like a question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. So like, when does your course start? How long is it going to last? What if I have questions, etc. Okay. Then at night on Friday, you can send testimonial emails. You can say like, look at my makeup artist. She increased her revenue by, 50% within 3 months of taking my master class. Or, things like that make people think like, wow, investing into this might be a really good idea, right? Then Saturday, you can literally insert a little video of yourself. It could be a selfie video, and you can say something like, I know what it's like to be a struggling makeup artist, and I know sometimes even the price of this course seems out of reach, but honestly, it's such a great investment in yourself. If I could do anything, if I went back in time, I would invest into my craft faster, because once you know how to get people better results and you start posting it on social, you will get more clients. Like, you'll get this right back in ROI, and you'll be able to increase your prices over time. So you can do that, okay? You can do an email too, like on common fears. So like, you can say, I know what you're thinking. Maybe you think, I don't have the time to take a course, or I don't have the money right now, or I don't have this. And you can give them possible solutions, essentially overcoming their main objections, okay? Now, on that last day, and remember to use ChatGPT. Honestly, you can literally prompt ChatGPT and say, hey, I want a post-webinar email sequence that has 5 emails addressing this for a course about this. And it'll literally write them for you. Or you can go one by one and say, hey, I want to write an email that's like a frequently asked question style email post-webinar that's, high converting to sell my course. Use ChatGPT, guys. It's a really amazing tool, okay? Oh, and this is also a tip that Tony wanted me to tell you guys. So, when you're first starting out, you might not have a lot of volume for your free trainings. Okay. So, in those emails, you can also insert a different kind of CTA, call to action, where you can offer one-to-one calls to help them figure out if it's a good fit. Okay, so you can say, hey, I've been receiving a lot of questions about the program, so I've decided to open up 10 20-minute call slots. Here is my link to my Calendly or whatever, my calendar, and book a call. It's completely complimentary, and within those 20 minutes we can figure out if this program is really a good fit for you. And that way, these are technically sales calls for you. You can increase your chances of converting people through sales calls when it's like you don't have a lot of people registered for your webinar, which is usually how you start out. But like, let's say Tony, he gets thousands of people to show up. He's not going to send an email offering people free one-to-one to see if it's a good fit, right? When you get to a certain point, you don't need to do this. But at the beginning, this can really help you convert as well as understand your ideal client much better. Okay, now keep this in mind. On the very last day, right, on the day you are going to close the cart, send 2 to 3 emails, okay? Morning, afternoon, and I always do one that's labeled 2 hours left, okay? Now, this is when a lot of sales come in because people wait to the last minute, all right? And they basically were either convinced during the webinar and they purchased there. Maybe they purchased the next day because the bonus was going away. And then after that, they were reading your emails but not taking action. But this is the day that they're going to take action. I usually get so many sales after that last email that says 2 hours left. So make sure you send all of those. Use ChatGPT to help you write them. And just make sure you're creating that sense of FOMO and urgency, okay? All right, so after you do this, all right, so remember, you came up with a course curriculum, you wrote it down. Based on what you're gonna sell, you came up with a free webinar title idea and you used ChatGPT. You created a sign-up page for it where people can go and put their name and email, they sign up, and you promoted that link, that webinar for about 7 to 10 days. You showed up and did your free live webinar, okay? Which you have slides for as well as in this course, and you have the sign up pages on ClickFunnels, and you have the tutorial on Webinar Jam. So you should know how to execute this. Now, once you do all of that, okay, you drop the link for them to be able to check out, which they can do on StanStore, they can do on Kajabi, they can do on ClickFunnels. So once they check out, you have paid customers, okay? And then after your live webinar, you set out emails for a specific period of days, and then you closed the cart. Okay, so your launch, that is a launch, and it's officially over once you close the cart. You should always close the cart the first time you launch, okay? Now, here are some post-launch strategies that are really, really important. So number one, you want to evaluate your launch success and you want to gather your feedback, okay? Then you want to nurture customer relationships and you want to provide support and of course, plan for future launches. So this is what this looks like. And this is very, very important because launching webinars and building a digital fortune business is a numbers game. It's really not personal. So for every 100 people that register to your webinar, not that you have on your email list for your lead magnet, that actually registered for that specific webinar, okay, you can expect 1 to 3 sales, which means 1 to 3% conversion. The industry standard is to convert 2%. If you convert 2%, you're doing very well. If you convert 2%, that means that you have an offer audience match. It means you have found a pain point in the market that people are willing to pay for. And now all you have to do is get it in front of more people, okay? So if you have 500 people register, you can expect 10 sales. If your course is $1,000 each, that's $10,000. If you have, if your course is $2,000, that's $20K, right? If you got, let's say you got 250 people to register, then you're looking at five sales. Now, if your course again is 1K, you just made 5K. If your course is 2K, you just made 10K with 250 people. So it's a numbers game. And what you really want to do when you're first starting out is try to get at least 100 people at the same time to register so that you could see if you converted at 1, 2, or 3%. If you converted at 1%, that means you still need work. If you converted at 2%, you hit it on the nail. And if it's more than that, then that's amazing. Then you have a really great offer and audience match, okay? And then you should be excited for yourself. So if you only get 3 sales, but you had like 80 people register, right? That means that you're doing really, really well, because you shouldn't even have gotten that many, because it should have been at least 100. So sometimes people come to me and they say that they have a failed launch or that really did really poorly, but technically they didn't, because their numbers say different. Okay, so now this is kind of when you start becoming a marketer and you need to understand your numbers. So these are the numbers you got to keep in mind. How many people registered? Okay, so this is the registrant number to your webinar. How many people registered in the first place? Again, different from people in your email list. This is how many people registered for that specific webinar, okay? Then you have your show up rate. How many people actually showed up out of the people who registered? Just so you know, we usually expect 20 to 30%, which means if 100 people sign up, usually we only get 20 to 30 to actually come on the day of. However, one way that you can increase the show up rate is to give an incentive. So you can say, for those who come live and stay until the end, I'm going to do X. Okay. Now, you have a registration number, you have your show up rate, and then how many people stayed until the end of the webinar. So if 30 people show up at the beginning, out of those 30, how many stayed to the very end? That's your retention rate, right? Then you should pay attention to how many purchased on the webinar day. This tells you how good your bonuses were and how good the bonus structure and pitch you did was. And then also how many purchased during the entire launch, because then obviously you're looking for that 2% conversion, okay? So then you start understanding kind of what you need to work on when you know those numbers. Okay, this is called a debrief. This is when you could only do this after a launch, okay? You can't do it before. So if your registrant number is low, then you need more traffic, right? You need to run ads. You need to get those shout outs from the influencer list that Tony has provided. So if your registered number is not getting anywhere near 1,000, it's going to be very hard for you to get sales, right? So you need people to show up in high volume in order for you to really see the money. This is a numbers game, okay? If your show up rate is low, then again, like I said, you should add an incentive, and Tony personally does giveaways. If your retention rate is low, right? So if out of the people who show up to the webinar, not many stay, then you have to improve the webinar. Something you're not giving good enough information, and this is tricky. So again, I'm going to cover this in the webinar video, but this is what that's saying. If your retention rate is low, then we need to improve the webinar itself. Now, if your conversion rate, the number of people who actually purchased, is low, then we have to look at a few variables. It was either the pitch, right? The bonuses weren't enticing enough, or it's the offer itself, meaning that you haven't really found a pain point that market is willing to pay for, to solve, okay? All right, so after the launch, obviously you have to deliver the course. This is when you actually have to create it. And you really do have different options, which we discussed earlier. You could do it live each week on Zoom and upload a recording. This is something Tony has done in the past. Or you can create pre-recorded videos and upload them in the form of modules. And you can use Stanstore for this, or Kajabi, okay? Literally, you just put the phone, you can use a phone, record yourself, upload it to your computer, and then upload it to either one of these platforms. Takes minutes, okay? And I always like to give customers a support email. Even if it's just your email, just give them somewhere that they can write if they have any questions or issues. And then really just try to invest into your students so you can get testimonials. So at the beginning, what you have as an advantage is small groups. And so really make sure that you're giving your students everything they need without one-to-one support, because the entire point of the Digital Fortune is to leverage your time. So as little one-to-one as you can, but really those testimonials are really going to be very key. So do what you have to do to help your students get the results so that you have testimonials for your upcoming launches, because that really does make a difference. Okay, now, as far as planning for future launches, once you deliver your course, okay, this is the beauty of this. So we just spoke about your very first launch. So let's say you launched and you pre-sold it, and now 5 weeks have gone by, you officially are done, you uploaded all of the modules, your students are done. Now you can rinse and repeat this launch strategy. Okay. But now it's going to be easier because you know what to improve from last time. You paid attention to those numbers and you know this time you're going to run ads. This time you're going to get a blog shout out, or this time you are going to do a different bonus structure or a different offer, right? So your course is done. You don't have to worry about creating it. All you have to do is now do trainings, and get new students in, but they're all going into your digital asset that you created for yourself that you already created, okay? So I would suggest focus on adding traffic if you converted at that 2% or higher. Once you convert at 2%, you're golden. You're good to go, okay? So once you know that, and honestly, it doesn't take that much. So one of my clients recently, she had 20 people show up to her webinar, but she sells a course at $2,000 and she sold 2 people. So that was very well worth her time at the end of the day. Okay. And this person is a big influencer, but that's the amount of people that she was able to bring in, but it still was worth their time. And her course is already created. So she literally just showed up, promoted this live webinar, showed up for a couple hours, made 4,000, and she's rinsing and repeating and doing it again the next week. And the reason she's doing that now is because she's doing it to a new audience because she's running ads. So she's not telling her audience every single time to keep signing up for the same class. It seems like a fresh class because it's to new audiences that haven't heard from her, okay? And this is how you create your digital fortune. You literally have a course that's at least $500 to start. I would do $1,000 to $2,000, and you put it in front of the right people. You create these free trainings, get them to sign up, deliver the free training, email them for a certain amount of time, give them those bonuses and deadlines, and then rinse and repeat. All right, so hopefully you guys learned a lot in this lesson, and I'll see you over at the webinar video.